This is the fourth and shortest and most challenging to scientific establishment video in the physical geometry series by me. The ideas of mine, the video work, and the pictures of my head. The great question in physics today is how do you unite quantum physics with the general theory of relativity?
Alright, here we come to the most radical claims in this little series of videos, which I can't overemphasize the fact that I have not read all the current literature. I did take a course in astrophysics and got an A in it. It was one isolated event a long time ago. Whatever skill I ever had in math was, as standard math, was limited and is now entirely rusty. So it's not a matter of proving it in equations. This is a geometry that I've developed. You can look at the pictures, you can hear the logical arguments. There are some equations I've put together, they're not in this video. In physics today, the two great challenges of the very fruitful field of quantum mechanics, which shows that particles behave in units of space and time. They move around between them. They are there and they're not there. That's a very quick way of saying it. And that, on the other hand, space-time itself operates according to Einstein's general theory of relativity, which means that it's one big giant fabric that is twisted and turned by gravity and has a speed limit and has all these unique qualities that cause it to function as almost a living, in quotes, whole, very inseparable and knitted together and very obedient to these general rules and guidelines that seem to have almost nothing to do with quantum mechanics. And I, as a layman, in this little cartoonish video, am claiming to reconcile these two theories without full explanation of how, but with enough to prove that in fact this is the explanation if you follow it through. So space-time without matter and energy is already complex and iterative. You need to look at the other videos and read the notes on my Facebook page to understand how the dimensions work. And the way they work for us now is what we're talking about, but they imply and specify a pure state without energy and matter, where they work approximately the same way. Each iteration within that pure space-time has distinctive qualities and distinctive characteristics. Thus, energy and matter occur as a particular iteration of pure space-time, in which they then begin to define space-time. So the thing studied by general relativity, which is the coming together of energy, matter, space, and time, is a record of what we end up with on this iteration on one temporal unit as all of the behaviors of pure space-time continue and are modified and tied to the behavior of energy and matter, which we assert is something different. So we say that this can only occur in a particular place where the frothiness of these iterations pressing in on one another reaches a certain kind of maximum. Pressure points in space-time, which we could call big bang points in the froth. Each of these colors represents a type of dimensionality and a type of iteration. That little box shows where a place could be that a big bang would occur. And then there's a nugget that occurs, as physicists would suggest, that began before the Big Bang. A tiny place where there's no escape and all the iterative pressures have reached a maximum. From the point of view of pure space-time, this new iteration is a single point on a temporal radiant. But it has connections and structures to all of the froth of the space-time around it. And it propagates this throughout. The new universe has space-time linked to matter and energy. Like all iterations, it is unique. And there may be infinite numbers of these, and that infinity is typified by our own universe. The temporal radiant, though, flows through the quantized nucleus of each particle, and thus, that's right, the temporal radiant flows through the quantized nucleus of each particle. Nucleus not in the physical sense of an atom's nucleus, but the very nexus and nucleus and center, and we have to come up with some name of it, that is from outside of our universe a single line, a single ray, a single radiant. That is right. Every dimension in which we see time occur is actually a single radiant, and that radiant is located in a particular place, and that particular place is the center of the quantized activity of the particles of matter. And these make up the fabric, the grand shaping together of space-time energy matter, which isn't really space-time, but mislabeled by Einstein, but is space-time energy matter, our space-time, in other words, as we know it, which is by definition derivative of a pure space-time. And our space-time is still real space-time, although linked to energy and matter always. And why is it linked to energy and matter? Through the nexus of quantized activity that forms the temporal radiant, and that is located in the nexus of each particle of matter and regulated by the behavior of energy in that matter and within space-time. And that's it. That's my unified theory.